Imagine if you were so distraught with Star Wars Episode 7 that you kidnapped Harrison Ford and forced him to remake the movie in your bullshitters. Stealing Solo is a parody of Star Wars and Hollywood in general. It's only available through Indiegogo for a short period of time, and once it's gone, it's gone. There's tons of perks and awesome gifts to get at each level, so sign up today to guarantee your copy of Stealing Solo before it's too late. This video is also brought to you by the Galaxy Ascendant series by Yakov Mirkin, a new, grand scope, action-packed space opera series. If you're disappointed with the current state of the galaxy far, far away, come visit the Galaxy Ascendant. Books 1 and 2 now available on Amazon.com. And the 2017 Golden Stake winning Undeadly Secret series, now available on Amazon in digital and paperback. For fans of True Blood, Underworld, and Blade, when they are awesome. Warning, the themes depicted in this series may be too intense for some readers. These vampires don't sparkle. Links in the description below.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
There's an old saying that says you can't go home again. Well, that's just not the case with Star Wars toys. So here I am at Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Good stuff cheap. And there's a secret inside this store. So I was out on Saturday, doing a little bit of shopping, and I stopped into Ollie's, and I came across this veritable treasure trove of unsold Star Wars The Force Awakens action figures. Now these are a whopping $2.99. And you're probably thinking to yourself, oh great, more Star Wars crap. Well yeah, that's what I thought, more Star Wars crap. But what's interesting about this Star Wars crap is it's been out for 3 years. Some of these figures are from the initial wave that were released on September 4th of 2015 during the Force Friday event. And they're still available. So here we have a blue 3PO with thick thighs, and nobody bought him for a whopping $3, so that's cool. Let's put him down. But let's see what else people didn't buy. So this 4-pack comes from Rogue One. It's a whopping $10. And during the release of Rogue One, people were going nuts for this because they wanted the Forrest Whitaker figure. Well, folks, if you paid more than retail, you're an idiot. Ooh, what's a Force Trainer? Move holograms with your minds. Bluetooth headset detects your concentration. I don't buy that. Speaking of not buying, I can't believe people are not buying this man. The legend, the hero of Star Wars, Luke Skywalker. You can see it in his plastic eyes. He just doesn't care. Now Luke comes with his lightsaber, so if you want to move his arm up and down, at least you'll have the lightsaber to do it. Now here's Greedo, and Greedo looks legit. Nice pearlescent paint job on the eyes, nice sculpting. But as I look at Greedo, I can't help but think there's something missing from the toy. I'm gonna have to look around and come back. Now let me maneuver my way around this red pillar of death, and we find Blade Builders. Yay, Blade Builders. So if you haven't watched the other Star Wars toy videos I've done, you have missed out because there were mountains and mountains of Blade Builders. Had somebody sent me every Blade Builder that I saw at a Toys R Us or an Ollie's, I could honestly build a fortress for world-class bullshitters. Now, it wouldn't have Wi-Fi or electricity, but you'd be able to live in the Blade Builder set, because for $12.99, people aren't picking these up. Now, this Stormtrooper's $12.99 as well, and he looks kind of cool. Nice sculpt, he makes sounds, he's motion acted that say Star Wars. A box that said Star Wars just to get you excited. Now it's just like, oh great, what can't we sell? And now this little guy lights up, and that's the Imperial logo on his chest, and he makes sounds. Let's move. Nah, Stormtrooper, you're not moving. Ever. Speaking of not moving, remember Micro Machines? These are classics. Sarcasm. Now, I liked Micro Machines as a kid, and it was nice to see them come back for Star Wars, but nobody bought them. I mean, who doesn't want Poe Dameron in his eraser-shaped ship on this brown mass of plastic that comes inside of a Stormtrooper's head? And I have Butterfingers, so I can't hold this up for some reason. Or maybe it's the world telling me just don't. First Order Transporter. Whew! And it comes on a plastic stick, and you can do shit with it. R2-D2. Everybody loves R2-D2, right? Now, R2-D2 has Chewbacca. Again, I just can't, there we go. Let's bounce it over here. So we have Chewbacca in a speeder full of First Order snowtroopers, and they look fine. And you can have Chewbacca fight the First Order snowtroopers inside of R2-D2. So maybe this was the dream R2-D2 was having when he was sleeping during the entire film. And I dropped it. I apologize, folks. I swear to God I wasn't drunk when I filmed this. Just a little unbalanced. And Chewbacca in there to fight the First Order together. That's how you hook the kids. You could love the Star Wars shampoo bottle action figures. The Micro Machine, but they have slightly more articulation. They can move their arms and maybe their legs. And let's see who else they got here. Besides the Stormtrooper, they got the Rogue One Death Trooper. Oh man, that's cool. And okay, now hold on. We got to show some respect for Darth Vader, the Dark Lord of the Sith. You know, even though Disney has fucked up Star Wars, you can't cuck out the real Darth Vader too terribly before he chokes our asses. Ah, respect, or a lack thereof. Jyn Erso, the face that launched 1,000 ships into the sun so they could all die a painful death. Oh, Jyn, nobody wants you. Nor do I. Speaking of something I would never want, a giant BB-8. Lights and sound. Try me. Alright, I'll try you. And it lights up and it does that stupid iPad sound and all that other crap. And I got a gift for BB-8, one of these, from Star Wars. We have BB-8, C-3PO, and another astromech. Now this C-3PO comes with the red arm. Remember folks, C-3PO had a red arm to sell you more action figures, because other than that, it's the same toy you've been buying for 40 years. Speaking of buying, how much would this piece of shit cost? $15.99, down from $30. Whew! And it's only available at Target. This is not Target. This is Ollie's. That's Ollie. This is Ollie's. But that sign says Target. Huh. It's almost like these toys didn't only come from a Toys R Us buyout. Here's more BB-8. Awesome. Tennis ball. Just toss him around. Maybe Serena Williams can win that match. But you pull the ripcord and he goes, and you can use your phone and shit. Awesome. Just awesome. So while we were looking at all this awesome stuff, I hope you guys have been thinking about Greedo and what was missing from this excellent toy. If you haven't figured it out, it was the blaster hole that Han Solo left in his chest. And again, the world has walked away from Star Wars. Ah, a Star Wars buyout. So I walked down the actual toy aisle of this store to see what else they had in terms of Star Wars merchandise, and I found these Star Wars Rebel Kanan Jarrus, and they had Ezra, and they're a whopping $14.99. And they walked into, and they had this Star Wars Simon. Now this is cool for a minute, and I can't play it for copyright reasons, but when you press the Darth Vader nose, those lights correspond to the Imperial March. So if this was all Simon with Star Wars music, I'm kind of sad that that didn't sell, because that is such a cool concept. Again, more BB-8s. And again, I got another one of these for BB-8. Hello, Greedo. I know I don't mean the YouTuber. Luke Skywalker can't even make eye contact with me. He's so embarrassed to be sold for pennies on the dollar. And Luke, I understand, man. You used to be the hero of the rebellion. Down here, we objective. But what do we have? We have Star Wars tabletop pinball with on-screen sound effects and light-up action. And it's only $10. I mean, look at the kid's eyes light up when he sees the action of Rey. Learn everything with just closing hers. And there's another one, so I guess people aren't buying it either. Now here's something I've never seen before. The Star Wars Death Star play case for Hot Wheels. Open to play inside. You know, when I think of Star Wars, the first thing I think of is Hot Wheels, said no one ever. And these are stacked up fairly high. They have quite a few of these play sets. Speaking of something they have fairly a few of, Star Wars Blade Builders. My God, these things are rotting away from nuclear war. There will be rats, Twinkies, and Star Wars Blade Builders. They're just everywhere. Maybe they can melt this down and, I don't know, make drinking cups for kids in third world nations. But no, we have to have Star Wars Blade Builder sets. Now down this Ollie's toy aisle, I found this wonderful stack of Star Wars figures. So We have Finn, and let's see how many we have overall. So what are these, about 5 deep, and we have 1, 2, 3. And in Stormtrooper gear, Unkar Plutt, because he needs a toy. Not 9 Nub, because, well, he could use a toy. Snowtrooper, why not a toy? Let's see. General Hux. The fact that they made him a new figure for The Last Jedi makes me laugh, because he wore the same thing. He wore the same thing in the first movie, he wore it in the second movie as well. Little man, since we made our first Star Wars toy video over a year ago. There's Owen of Star Wars. He's supposed to be on every kid's Christmas list, right? Because he's the bad guy, the coolest one. That cross-guard lightsaber was going to just sell everywhere. That's not the case. And let's see who else we got in this next row. More General Hux, the Grand Inquisitor, who's a listener of this channel, so thank you. Guavian Enforcer, another figure people thought was going to be cool but wasn't, and everything came tumbling down, so I just walked away. Ooh, Star Wars beach towels, because I want to wipe my ass with John Boyega. They also have the droids, C-3PO, R2-D2, and BB-8. Oh, 100% cotton. Get a polyester towel like they would have back in the day. Now this comes from the Last Jedi line, you can tell by the packaging. Star Wars, one reversible pillowcase for $1.49. And I caught the other one. Man, look at that. Let's take a closer look to see what you get for this $1.49. You get Poe Dameron and his X-Wing, and you get Chewbacca and the Millennium Falcon. What kid doesn't want to sleep on Chewbacca? Now this store had more blade builders in the back, but they also had another set of micro machines, which we've already seen before, so there's no need to cover that again. But they have this, the Death Star, Go Cards. What are Go Cards? All your favorite characters. Still don't get it. Oh, Box Busters. And Blade Builders. You know, Box Busters and Blade Builders sound like an adult film, which maybe we should fund after stealing Solo Captain's parody. Our friend the Stormtrooper, again, I just can't not press the button. It's kind of fun. Speaking of fun, this isn't. A Darth Vader character car. Knock out your enemy target. Blast battle and lightsaber launcher. Let's check out what this is on the back. So it's some track. It's and ooh, look, we can collect all the figures. We can get Luke Skywalker, R2-D2, Yoda, Boba Fett, and Wicket. He looks like an off-roader version of the Flintstones car. And you can connect with the sets. Oh man, this kid is so excited. I mean, look at his eyes. He just knows that this is the peak of his career. I was on a Star Wars box, and then I died. Now this is the third and final Ollie's I visited over the weekend, and they have more of these exclusive to Target Force Awakens 3-packs. They also have more of this Jedi Knight bullcrap. And here's another sign. Star Wars. Star Wars. Cheap. Star Wars. Cheap. Okay, I kind of fucked that one up, so let's just move on. So more of the Stormtroopers, more of the 4-packs from Rogue Ones, and ooh, boxes. Let's see. Action figures. Star Wars. Spin action lightsaber. Star Wars. That kind of seems fun. Ooh, they got a lot of them, too. I bet it's something cool. I can't wait to see what the spin action... Fuck. Now, this was fun. Star Wars soup. Kid-shaped chicken with chicken broth. This is the only time you can put Rey in the kitchen and not be accused of being a sexist. Let's see, does this BB-8 work? Yes, it does. Look at that flashing light. Just stare at it. Just pass away. But this is why I filmed this aisle. Now this is an AT-ST from Return of the Jedi, and it used to be an exclusive sold at Walmart. Now it's only $10 here, which is a fantastic deal, because this used to be $60 when it was new, and they got more than one. This wasn't just a one-off fluke thing. But listen to what I said earlier, a Walmart exclusive. So throughout this video, we have seen buyouts from Target, Toys R Us, hypothetically, and Walmart for sure. We can verify that this is a Walmart and those are Target exclusives. So there is a bigger problem with Star Wars than just Toys R Us not being around anymore. The merchandise that you've just seen was produced for 2015's Christmas season. A lot of those figures were released on day one, Force Friday, September 4th of 2015. That's not a good sign. Then we have blade builders as far as the eye can see. We had tons of those stormtroopers from Rogue One, tons of the 4-packs from Rogue One. We just had tons of old Star Wars stuff that no longer sells. Now people say, Jeff, this is an off year. There's no movie. Well, Solo came out earlier this year, blah, blah, blah. You got 1,000,001 excuses. But let me tell you something. This kind of stuff would not have happened between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Kids were pumped. People were pumped. Star Wars meant something. Star Wars has become two things, disposable and a joke. Disney pumps out as much merchandise as possible. People don't buy it. It gets bought up by a third-party retailer, and it's sold again for pennies on the dollar. What does that do? Well, it's good for a collector because you know you can wait for everything to go down in price. But it hurts your brand. You think Hasbro is going to allow Disney to charge that much for the Star Wars license? Then just stuff sat on shelves and didn't sell, and the stores bought less and less incrementally. The movie came out in May. Why would they put a toy line out in May? Well, person that said that, look at every other Star Wars movie from the prequels. Those figures came out when the movies came out, just like back in the original trilogy era. They had nothing in 77, 78, early 78. They had the early bird figures. You could cash them in. You could get stuff at Christmas, but they kept pumping out stuff. Now they pump out a bunch of stuff and it doesn't move, and there's no excuse that Solo couldn't have had a bigger launch. Why didn't it have a bigger launch? Well, Star Wars just isn't treated the same way because this isn't anything new. We saw this stuff not selling at Toys R Us. We saw it not selling at Walmart. We've seen it not selling at Target, and now we're for America. So let me know what you think about this. Do you find it funny? Do you find it sad? I find it sad that a year later, I'm still able to find this type of thing going on. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a one-off event with Star Wars merchandise just dying on the shelves. And Star Wars and its merchandise go hand in hand. I mean, look at the excitement, the hype for Episode 7 and Force Friday. They did events, did live streams where they announced, check out this new Millennium Falcon that's somehow smaller than the original one and has... I went to Force Friday 2015 the next day. It opened at midnight. I went about 7 or 8 the next morning just to check it out. And everything was sold. Nothing had been sold for Episode 7, 8, The Last Jedi, which is Episode 8 as well. Solo and Rogue One later on for pennies on the dollar. Well, you would have surprised me because I thought Star Wars was going to come back in full force. Maybe I wouldn't like the movie, but everyone else would. The shit would sell, and I would just have to accept that I was the only one. Well, then the toys didn't move. The next movie, Rogue One, was good. I kind of forgave Disney Star Wars a bit. Then Episode 8 came out, and it all came tumbling down. So, folks, long story short, Disney Johnsoned this. They Johnsoned this toy with Disney on it. Know in the back of your mind, know in your hearts that you'll be able to find that really cheap at Ollie's or being discounted at Walmart or anywhere you go. So, like I said in the first Star Wars toy video, the death mark of Disney. And it truly is the death mark of Disney. As soon as Disney bought up that property, it became useless and empty and hollow, just like the movies, just like the people that make the movies, just like everything associated with Star Wars. So, folks, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to World Class Bullshitters and ding the bell because a lot of people are getting unsubscribed from this channel. And, well, you don't want to miss out on content like this. Speaking of missing out, you guys don't want to miss out on Stealing Solo, a Captain's Parody, available only on Indiegogo for a short period of time. We're in the final stretch. We have 1 month left on the campaign, and it's well past its goal, but let's keep it going because once we hit $30,000 in backing, everyone's going to get their first perk, which will be a nice little gift that you can check out on Indiegogo. So if you haven't done that already, make sure you do. If you already have, thank you very much. I appreciate it so much. And I'll be back later.